Hi, welcome back. You're watching Midcap Radar. For now, the markets, they've come off once again. So it looks like for now, just about flat, about 30 points added on the Sensex. Mindtree is a company that will be reporting numbers today. It's on our watch list. So Rima is here to tell us what we can expect. Rima.
Well, for one, the stock has seen a correction of close to about 30% from its lifetime high of 1,183 that it hit in the month of September. And the key reason is that the growth has slowed down for the company. So last quarter, which was a seasonally strong quarter, the company had only reported about a 2.4% sequential growth, which is why even the valuations for the company have moderated quite a bit. It was trading at a forward multiple of nearly 20 times, which has now come down to 15.5 to 16 times. Now, the December quarter is a seasonally weak quarter, which is why we're working with a dollar revenue growth of 1.9%. On a constant currency basis, it should be a growth of 2.5%, which ties in with what the management had said, that growth in Q3 will be similar to what we saw in Q2. Aided by the INR depreciation, margin should expand by 50 basis points to 13.3%. However, profits could be weaker on account of a forex element. The key to track from Mindtree this time around, whether we continue to see margin improvement going ahead, because the company's margins are much lower than its historical levels, also lower compared to the industry standard. The digital growth, which had slowed down in the prior quarter, does that pick up? And even in terms of new deal wins, the new deal wins in the March and June quarter were closer to 300 million in terms of fresh addition. That had come down to 270 million in the September quarter. If that continues to taper out, it gives you less visibility in terms of growth going ahead. And also an update on, if at all the management has something to update on, whether VG Siddhartha is looking to exit the company and any progress on that.
Rima, thanks very much for that. That's Mindtree in focus, and we'll get you the numbers as they come through. The Nifty, by the way, is almost back in the red territory. It's up just about 4 points. And it was up, what? I mean, almost 25 points when we started at 130. So there is definitely a slip which has happened in that sense. On to a CNBC TV exclusive now. With just a few months remaining before the NDA government's term formally comes to a close, the Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is all set to announce the interim budget of the government on the 1st of February. Ahead of this, Lata Venkatesh caught up with Montek Singh Ahluwalia, the former Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission, and began by asking him about essentially the legal limits on the vote of account and the possibility for the government to raise the IT exemption limit to 5 lakh rupees. Here is an excerpt of that conversation.
You know, the tradition has been that when a government is heading into an election, the budget is essentially an interim budget, so you don't need to discuss very much questions of feasibility and so on. Now, since the election will take place later, probably the election notification will not have been issued. I don't know legally whether you can present a budget and then simply go into the election. The problem is that if you do present a budget, then that budget will have to go through very detailed examination about feasibility. Is what is being promised consistent with the fiscal deficit? All that kind of stuff. I have no idea what the government intends to do on that.
But in the 2014 vote on account and interim budget, the then Finance Minister, Mr. Chidambaram, had said that he proposes certain tax tweaks, but caveated it by saying if the same government...
Well, yes, that is actually... Yeah, you know, I remember in 2009, when we were just getting out of the crisis, I had recommended then to the Finance Minister, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, that, you know, we can't go into a budget in the middle of a global crisis and not let anybody know what you're going to do. So even though the budget itself simply repeated the previous year's numbers, Mr. Mukherjee said that at the time of the regular budget, it was his intention to increase plan expenditure by a certain amount. Now, that was not part of the budget proposal, but it was kind of a declaration of intent. So I suppose governments could always do that. But, you know, to feed that into the actual budget, I mean, it means one of two things. If you're going to increase expenditure on certain things, are you going to reduce it on something else? Is the budget deficit going to increase? Or are you going to cover it through new revenues? And how credible are each of these things? This will become an issue for debate and discussion.